This is book one in the delightful fantasy world. Hi friends, welcome back to another video. Since we are now officially in spring, I thought that I'd make a plan my spring TBR kind of video because I planned one in summer last year and I actually really enjoy putting that together for you all. And I do also always create a seasonal TBR, so I thought I'd film and take you guys along with me for this season as well. I've never owned a TBR cart or had a shelf dedicated to just my physical TBR collection, so I thought that I would create my own TBR shelf over there in the corner of my office. I think I own about 50 or so books that I haven't read yet, so I think that most of the books that I end up putting on my spring TBR are probably going to be physical books that I own, and I don't know how spring-like they are, so we'll see if they are actual seasonally appropriate reads or if they're just more books that I need to prioritize this season because I've had them for so long on my shelf. To be honest, I'm not too sure what kind of books I'm in the mood for lately. Normally during springtime, I usually gravitate towards classics. I also love some light, cozy fantasy this time of year, as well as romance reads, but I haven't really been in the mood for classics, although maybe that's going to creep up on me the further into spring we go. But what I do know is that I'll be participating in the Book Roast's Magical Readathon, which takes place twice a year during spring and autumn. I'd actually love to know if any of you are a part of the readathon as well, because I adore it. But essentially, if you don't know about it, it's a fantasy roleplay kind of readathon where you create a character and your character attends the Aurelium Academy, and at Aurelium you will choose a career path for your character, and depending on which career path you take different classes each semester or term, and those classes correspond to different prompts. This is my third year joining the readathon, so I'd love to know if any of you are also participating this spring. But other than that, I don't really know what kind of books I'm in the mood for, so it'll be exciting to see what this list looks like at the end of the video. But I do have this cute post-it note that I got from Korea last year, and I haven't actually used it because it's just so cute. I don't want to use any of the pages, but since it has adorable flowers and bear characters, I thought that I would jot down the books that I want to read this spring on it and stick it behind me on my pegboard so that I can just tick off each one, make sure I'm on track. But before we jump into the video, I'd love to share with you all the pieces that were kindly sent to me by Simple Retro, who are sponsoring today's video. Over the last year, I've had the privilege of working alongside them to share their different collections, and I'm super excited to share the pieces in this video too. First up, we have the Ahya round neck top in green. My eyes have been gravitating towards all things stripes as of late, and so I couldn't resist picking this top out from their spring collection. I've been really enjoying wearing it paired with this ochre knit vest that I bought from Korea, but it's also wonderful to wear by itself this springtime. And because I've been loving the stripes, I also wanted to try out the violet top, which has blue stripes and a beautiful square neckline instead. I feel like this is going to be such a timeless classic in my wardrobe. I've been pairing it a lot with the Molly knitted vest that I got this time last spring actually, and I can't wait to wear this outfit more once the sun returns to England again. I also got really excited when I saw the Monica blouse in their collection because I adore gingham, and this blouse has the cutest colour combo. It's another piece that I've been adoring lately with the Molly vest. I think it looks super cute together, and I also don't own anything like it. And last but not least, we have the Ava vintage cardigan in this gorgeous wine red. I've been eyeing this piece on their website for months now, but I think it must have been sold out for a while in my size. So I finally managed to get my hands on it, and it's even softer in real life than I thought it would be. But that's everything that I received, and don't forget to use the code Ahya10 if you'd like to receive 10% off your order. Let me know if you decide to get anything, and thank you again to Simple Retro. And now let's get back into the spring TBR. So this is a TBR shelf that I was talking to you guys about before the intro, and I've organised it in a way where we go from the most recent purchase on the side there and then towards the oldest purchases that I have in my collection. I thought that organising it this way would really encourage me to get a start on those books that have been sitting on my shelves for years now. When I first put this together, which was about a couple of weeks ago now, I had books all the way lined up to the end and this shelf was overflowing. So to have read the selection of books over there, to have created that sort of gap, is actually really satisfying for me to see, and it's been a real motivation for me to just keep on picking books from my TBR. I've challenged myself not to buy any more books until I have around 10 to 20 books on my physical TBR, so that means we have to make progress and read about 30 of these books ASAP. Okay, so I have my stack of books behind me, and I think in total I have around 10 books that I really want to get to this spring. I ended up having to create 2 different sticky notes which worked out perfectly. So I've got one for my spring TBR and one for the spring equinox or the spring term for the magical readathon. I'll go through the readathon first since that one is shorter. But for the spring term, my character, I think I mentioned earlier, is studying herbology, and to become a herbologist she has to study alchemy and restoration for this term. The prompt for alchemy was to read a book that had capital letters that made up the titles. So for that one I decided to go for, wait, let me try and find it. I decided to go for Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, and this is of course book 3 in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Now I've read this book already for the term, so I ticked it off on the list. But this book is one that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. I think I first read the Shadow and Bone trilogy when I was still in school, so maybe I was in year 8 or year 9 or something, or whenever the books were coming out. I did read it then, but I'd forgotten a lot about it, and my friend and I are going to read the Six of Crows duology together, which we're really excited about. But before I started the Six of Crows duology with her, I wanted to brush up on my Shadow of Bones trilogy, and I'd already made a start on rereading the first 2 books last year, but I never got round to finishing Ruin and Rising, which is why I tried rereading it this time round. And it fit the alchemy prompt perfectly, since Ruin and Rising is all written in capital letters, and I had a really good time with finishing the trilogy. I think the herbologist career path is one of the more easy ones in the Aurelium Academy and the magical readathon in general, because we only have 2 formal classes that I have to take, but the only other one is restoration. And for restoration the book prompt was to read a book that had or was rated more than 4 stars. I had a lot of fun picking out this book, but I decided to go for Lightful, which is a graphic novel by Tim Probert. This is book 1 in the Lightful fantasy world, and it's The Girl and the Galdurian. And I also finished this graphic novel, which is why I ticked it off the list. And I had such a wonderful time finally getting around to this graphic novel that I've been saving for a while. The colour palette is really more towards autumn, or is very autumnal, I should say. But since this had been on my shelf and it's been rated way above 4 stars on Goodreads, I thought that this was the perfect time to read it for the readathon. This follows Bee and her grandfather, the pig wizard, and they own a tincture and potions shop. So Bee is very accustomed to living a peaceful life, just working on herbal remedies for the villagers. However, one day Bee gets lost in the woods and she ends up bumping into Cad, a Galdurian. And the Galdurians were a species that were long thought to be extinct, so this comes as quite a surprise for Bee. And Cad is on a mission to find the pig wizard to ask for some help with regards to his race. But when the two of them make their way back to Bee's home and the pig wizard's shop, they can't find the pig wizard anywhere, and so they set off on an unexpected journey, rather perilous journey through all sorts of mountains and rivers, trying to find the pig wizard. I'd call it a cozy fantasy because of how gorgeously illustrated this book is, and there is a cozy undertone throughout the entire thing. But it has more high stakes and there are some battles to be fought and epic adventures that they go on. I had such a blast with this graphic novel and I can't wait to pick up the following 2. I think there are 2 more in this series. But the only other book that I have to read for the Magical Readathon isn't part of my particular career syllabus, but as part of the Readathon you get sorted into different houses, and I'm part of the Order of the Crescent House. And for the book club for Order of the Crescent, we are to read The Natural History of Dragons. I don't own this book, but I did manage to get a copy from the library, which I'm excited to read. I think this can be considered like the OG Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and that it also has that academic element towards it. But in this book, you follow Lady Trent, and she actually recalls all of her adventures and everything that she studied as a dragon naturalist. I'm really looking forward to reading this book because I adored Emily Wilde, and I'd love to also follow another character who is an academic at heart and all the crazy adventures that she goes on as a dragon naturalist. I think it'll be a really fun read, and if I enjoy it then I'm hoping to buy a physical copy as well because I love the cover of it. Anyways, those were the first 3 books, and then now we move on to my spring TBR. I have 7 books on this list, and first up we have The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrian Young. I featured this in one of my more recent videos, and that was a early spring book haul, I think. But this book feels super appropriate for springtime because it takes place on a flower farm, but I haven't got round to it yet. And we follow June Farrow, who is part of the Farrow family, and the women in this family not only run a super thriving flower farm, but they also seem to have fallen under a mysterious curse that has been passed down throughout the generations. However, when her grandmother passes away, June ends up trying to figure out the mysteries behind everything and figuring out more information about her mother's disappearance as well, which ends up leading her to a magical or hidden door of some sort. This book is like magical realism, I think, and it also has romance, which I'm really looking forward to. I think when I'm in the mood to read a book with a bit of romance in it, I'll gravitate towards this one, hopefully. The next book is another one that I featured in the spring book haul video, but we have Happy All the Time by Laurie Colwyn. This is a modern classic, so hopefully having different genres will help me to be able to pick up whatever book I'm in the mood for. This book follows Guido and Vincent, who are best friends and third cousins, and they spend their young childhood and their lives, dreaming about who they're going to marry and who they're going to fall in love with. Over time, both of them end up falling in love with different women, and it's really all about the two different couples as they fall in love and the different troubles they face in their relationships as well, and just figuring out really how to be happy all the time. I'm looking forward to having a modern classic in the midst of the more fantasy heavy book list that I've got going on for springtime, and it's one that I've had my eye on for a long time. I've seen it multiple times displayed at Waterstones, so I thought with its lovely pastel colours as well, I'm sure I'll be in the mood to pick this up sometime this spring. Now for a translated fiction novel, I've got Eleanor Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend. Some of my favourite YouTubers here like Carolyn and Reagan have raved about how much they adore this series, so I knew that I wanted to pick it up, and I actually picked this book up from a charity shop last year around spring I think, but I didn't get very far into it. I got apparently 30 pages into it before I stopped, and I don't know why I stopped because I was really enjoying it. So this time this year hopefully I'll pick this one up. This book follows two young girls who grow up outside of Naples, I think in the 1950s, and the town that they grow up in is really poor, but the two of them cling together and they have a very tight friendship. It's a literary fiction book, so if I'm in the mood for lit fic, then I know I'll gravitate towards this one. And I believe that not only does Elena Ferrante talk about friendship, but the friendship dynamic is a greater portrayal of things that are happening in Italy and alluding to bigger things than just the two friends. So I'm really looking forward to picking this one up and seeing why so many people really love and adore this author. Next on the list we have an Ellen Montgomery novel, and this is Emily of New Moon. I actually have never read Emily of New Moon before, hence why this is on the list, and I believe it starts during May, so I couldn't think of a more perfect time to put this on my TBR. I also love the copy that I have. It's so stunning. Oh, I love the tree and how it goes across the spine as well. In this book we follow Emily, who unfortunately loses her father, and so when her father passes away, the family decide that Emily should be sent to live with her aunt Elizabeth at the New Moon farm. I'm thinking and hoping that it's going to be written in the style of Anne of Green Gables, where it's a slice of life kind of coming of age story where you follow Emily as she grows up and she makes friends and gets to know her family on this new farm. If I'm in the mood for gorgeous descriptions of nature, then this is a book I think I'll end up picking up this spring. And another children's classic that I'd love to pick up is What Katie Did by Susan Coolidge. I initially picked this up because of the stunning cover. I literally cannot get over how beautiful this is, and I did manage to get this secondhand as well, which is amazing. I've never read from this author before, and the What Katie Did series is one that I've had my eye on for a while now, ever since I got back into reading children's classics. But as the title suggests, you follow Katie, and Katie is wild and has a crazy imagination. However, one day a terrible accident takes place and Katie is forced to rethink about some of her dreams, is forced to come to reality with the virtue of patience as well. And all in all, I think it's going to be a very charming read. I always love a good children's classic, so this is one that has been sitting on my shelf for a while now, so I definitely want to get to it this year. Another book that I got secondhand is Georgia Hayer's The Black Moth. I've heard that Georgia Hayer is perfect for fans of Jane Austen. I've never read from her before, so I'm looking forward to starting this. To be honest, I don't know much about this book other than the fact that we follow Diana, who is very much torn between two men, and historical romance is a genre that I love picking up this time of year. So if I'm craving a gorgeous historical romance, then I think I'm going to go for this one. And last but not least, we have Crooked Kingdom, which is book 2, of course, in the Six of Crows duology. I mentioned earlier that I'm buddy reading Six of Crows with a friend right now, and so of course Crooked Kingdom has to be on this list as well. My husband Ian and I have also just started the Shadow of Bone Netflix adaptation, and I didn't realise that Six of Crows was so interwoven into the storyline for that. And so in order to not be spoiled by anything, I really want to get a move on and read the Six of Crows duology. Here's my copy of Six of Crows, but in this duology you follow Kaz and 5 other criminals really, and they are tasked with breaking into one of the most fortified military bases called the Ice Court. So it centers around a heist, and I remember being obsessed with it as a teenager, but clearly not obsessed enough because I've forgotten a large part of the story. But that only means that I get to relive the experience of reading it for the first time, which is always a wonderful feeling. But those were the 10 books that I'm hoping to get to this season, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you've created your own spring TBR, let me know which books are on your list as well. Thank you again to Simple Retro for collaborating with me, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye friends!